Go like this. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Coach's Spot for the first time ever. It's me, Will, and Anthony. So Jason T. Powell, Will Smith, and Anthony DeBrule.
Yeah.
Wait.
Super coach.
Super coach Anthony DeBrule. I'm sorry. He's very sensitive. What I meant to say is Anthony DeBrule, Will Smith, and Jason T. Powell, because he gets very angry. So this is the first time I've had my two side pieces together. So Anthony and Will.
I don't like
together.
it when you call me that.
This is the first time you guys even met, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm honored.
Yeah, they've heard each
pleasure.
other before.
Right.
But so anyway, Anthony, how's it going? Anthony is stuck in what part of Texas?
Euless.
Yeah, we're all kind of stuck right now.
Yeah. My wife's in a nice hotel in Arlington with my daughter, and I'm stuck here with Taco.
Us.
With all the tongue.
And you guys.
And us, yeah, on Zoom. And then Will and I live, 500 yards apart? So
that. If you want to measure it, probably right at that, yeah.
We were roommates way back in the day, and then one day I'm driving down the street, and I'm like, "Hey, Will, what's up?"
Like, why are you driving by my house?
Yeah, 20 years later, leave me alone. The lease is up.
Like, dude, I don't know.
I knew you were always secretly in love with me.
Yeah, that's what it is. We're just chilling out. So, as Anthony and I alluded to the last episode, we have news this episode. So did you want to, because you're kind of the facilitator of it all. Do you want to say it?
No, you go ahead. I just want to sit in the background right now and be like,
everybody complains because I do all the talking. And then when I give you a chance to talk, you're like,
let me tell you something. When it comes to announcing something like this, you're going to do a way better job than I do.
Oh, nobody believes that. Everybody knows I'm not the talker. I'm so shy.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, here's the thing. The Coach's Spot as a podcast has sponsored a fighter, a boxer, actually, super bantamweight, I believe. And his name is Hector Valdez Jr. He is fighting on the Ortiz Hooker card here in Dallas. I still don't, where's the fight at? Do we even know?
I haven't looked at it.
It's in Dallas, March 20th. You can look on our social media if you need more details. But March 20th, we are very proud, happy, every kind of word you can use to announce that we are sponsoring him. So we'll be on his shirts and stuff too. So it'll be cool. Yeah. So you'll see Coach's Spot.
I think this kid, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I got this right, but he's 13-0.
Yeah.
So he's not just a fighter. He's a pretty darn good fighter.
Yeah.
Eight knockouts.
He also, I believe he actually works on a ranch. So he's also a cowboy.
Downtown Dallas?
Yeah, downtown Dallas.
I know. I don't know what I was doing in my life. I should have been a cowboy.
You should have been a cowboy. You should write a song about that. Should have been a cowboy. That's
I'm just saying.
Got a catchy thing to it.
After knowing this kid's what he's doing and where he's been, and then watching Yellowstone, I made bad decisions.
You
should have been on a ranch.
Excellent Rip Wheeler. You would be an excellent Rip Wheeler. I'm joking, by the way. You'd be a terrible Rip Wheeler. You don't like to swear at anybody. You'd be terrible as a Rip. You'd be more of a who's the young
That's not true. I can swear at anybody.
Wife. What's his name? What's the name of the young son?
I don't know.
Starts with a K, I think. K or C.
I don't know.
They make the same noun or the same sound for you alphabet people. I can't remember his name. I can't believe I can't.
This is not the show, Jason.
Knife.
It's not Knife. Yellowstone people are freaking out right now that I can't remember. And I'm a big Yellowstone fan. I've watched the whole thing twice because I watched it and then I made my wife rewatch it and she made me watch it with her. So I've seen it twice. The whole series twice. And it comes out again June 23rd. So that's how into it I am. I know when the next season's coming out. But I only pay attention to Rip Wheeler because that's who I want to be. By the way, this ties into the Coach's Spot because that actor, Cole Hauser, I think.
Yeah.
He just made a movie and it came out Ooh, I want to say it's just out on like streaming, called something champion, and where he goes back to his hometown. He's a wrestler, and he wins a gold medal, but then gets it stripped because he took steroids, and comes back years and years later because his mother passes away. I don't want to give anything else out, but he ends up coaching his high school wrestling team. It's kind of a good flick. It's a good flick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's a bad
Anyway.
man. Yeah. Which funny is I didn't even know that's who the actor was, because they dye his hair black and his beard black, which I'm thinking of doing, by the way. Give a comment if you think I should dye my Santa Claus beard and my hair. But
no, we like buff Santa Claus.
Well, it's funny because we watched the fights last night. UFC was on last night. Because you called me during it. I'm like, okay, Anthony, I gotta go. Like, UFC's on. And one of the fighters had my haircut, and someone that was watching the fights with me commented, they're like, look, they got the Jason Powell haircut. I'm like, that's funny. That's right. It's called the Jason Powell haircut. But really good fights last night. You didn't get to see them. Gilbert Burns rocked Usman in the first round and then ended up getting knocked out himself. But it was a good fight.
I didn't get to watch any of that stuff.
It was a terrible fight, but she's a really good fighter. Is that Macy Barber's done, I think, unless she gets it together. She's 22 years old, and she lost her last fight because she blew her knee out. She tore her ACL. But then this fight, she got schooled by Alexa Guerrero from Mexico. That girl can thump.
Yeah.
She is a boxing fool.
She knocked out?
No, it went the distance, but she got schooled. She came on the last round. There was another really good fight. I can't remember who it was now. He's been out for a while, and he came, but he was getting crushed. I mean, crushed. And he came back in the third round, choked the dude out. Oh, no. It was a really good fight. There were good fights. There were decent fights. There's another fight this weekend. UFC's tearing it up, man.
They're putting on good cards.
And they're the only ones that ratings are going up for. Everybody else is going to NBA. Everybody's going down. So,
it's weird.
By the way, is this a coach's spot thing? If we talk about North Dakota and Mississippi making it illegal for transgenders to compete against girls?
Well, it's athletic.
Is that too controversial for the coach's spot?
I don't know.
Anthony's making a face. Anthony's making a face. Well, and here's the other thing. And someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. I think the last name's Fallon. She's a transgender MMA fighter. She's a man transitioning to a woman, but is on hormones and everything, but is fighting as a woman. And her last two opponents, she's fractured their skulls.
Ugh.
Because she's fighting women. I don't know how anybody feels about that, but that seems a little unfair to me.
What do you expect?
Well, and science is now showing that even if they're on hormones for a year, they still carry more muscle and have a higher base of muscle than their female counterparts. There's no way to talk about this and be politically correct. Like,
yeah.
Well, you said female counterparts. It's not a counterpart. They're females. Okay. Then we'll just get off the subject. I'm sorry. I apologize, because there's no possible way to breach this subject with common sense and not make everybody angry. But I would like to say, even the liberals I talk to are like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That
She's still brave and beautiful.
Yeah. You can call him whatever you want, but for X-Man, meaning not the mutant, I'm just burying myself here because the X-Men are awesome. It's the best comic book ever. But somebody transitioning from a man to a woman to compete against girls, even liberals are like, that is dumb. Like, it's dumb. Look at everybody being politically correct in the room except for Jason.
I think bottom line is going to contradict themselves, because if you're going to give women an equal platform, well, if they're competing against men, you're going to prove that it's not an equal platform.
Well, and how are feminists okay with this?
because they can't go against their own words already. They have to wait and have it proven that obviously it's not true.
Yeah.
So it's gonna play out in certain states that they're going to allow it, and it's gonna be proven over whatever time frame you're gonna.
It's already been proven. It's been proven in cycling. It's been proven in fighting. It's been proven in track and field. Yeah.
Right. But if you give it enough time, when it's just overwhelmingly demonstrated year after year after year, it's like give it 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's given enough publicity and enough sports. Like
look at Anthony. Anthony's falling apart right now.
I think I told you, like, when it comes to, like, let's say women's basketball.
Yeah.
Because that's probably the most predominantly media,
mediocre.
Media. No. Probably most mainstream women's sport.
Right.
Basketball.
Right. Yeah, I agree with
as
that.
soon as there's a transgendered male, female that is just dominating everybody there, then somebody's gonna say, "Hey, that's enough."
Right.
Well, I think here's
the nice thing is. Here's the nice thing is, you coach boys or men. Mm-hmm. You don't have to ever worry about it.
No.
Anthony and I coach females,
right?
But the first time a transgender tries to compete women's gymnastics and falls on beam, they're dead anyway. So it doesn't matter.
Right.
It took care of itself. The chances of genders competing in gymnastics is pretty slim.
Right.
Wouldn't you agree, Anthony?
To me, it sounds like you guys are climate deniers too now.
What's the temperature?
What's the temperature right now?
Anyway, I'm not good. I'm not going down anywhere.
Look at Anthony refuses to touch this subject.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not that I don't refuse to touch it. It's just, there's no winning argument when if people have their mind set up on what they
I
are.
don't think we're
I mean, obviously,
I think we
no. No, yeah, I mean, I agree.
I think Will made this point. Will made the point to me the other day. I'm pretty sure it was you, Will, that the top woman, one of the top women in sprinting or something, an Olympic sport, her best times, there's 3 high school men in the world, in the country right now, in high school, that their times are better.
It's the 100-yard dash.
100-yard dash.
Now. So the Olympic record in the 100-yard dash doesn't even win the Texas boys 100-yard dash.
Yeah. So how do you compare? Well, it's just
the one thing that people forget too is they always talk about the boys going over to the girls' sports and all that, but girls have transitioned to boys' sports too.
That's fine. I have no problem with that.
But if you look at it, and I was looking at this the other day, because I was watching some stuff on it, and they were talking about, if you look at it, women that transition to men and then go into their sports, they do fine.
Terrible.
Or whatever, right? They don't do anything like
Annika Sorsen and Michelle Wee got smoked in the most non-contact sport in the world, golf.
But
they got smoked.
But when you have a man transitioning to a woman into women's sports, they break records.
Right. Yeah.
So
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
And for me, I just go without even saying my opinion and all that. When you look at all those facts, I mean, you can only come to one conclusion. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's where obviously where I stand on it.
I was watching a wrestling video the other day, and it was just a regular wrestling meet, and there's a girl wrestler there, and she was wrestling a boy, and it was lower weight classes, obviously, and he throws her, and the ref blows the whistle because it was brutal. The throw was like, I even got sick. I love to watch people get thrown. I mean, I've wrestled my whole life. I've done grappling my whole life. I love to see people get thrown. Heck, I've been thrown like a rag doll not too long ago. And this throw, and it was a totally legal, just average throw. And it was so bad that the ref blew the whistle, and the kid's like, well, why'd you blow the whistle? Everybody was like, why'd you blow the whistle? Like, she's either here to wrestle or she's not. Like, and they blew the whistle, and it was a totally legal throw because it was so brutal. They wanted to make sure she was okay. That's how bad it was. Now, in Texas, they had a girl transitioning to a boy who is on steroids or testosterone, which steroids, same thing, people. For those of you that don't know, it's the same stuff. And so he was transitioning from a woman and wanted to wrestle against the men, and they wouldn't let him. Wouldn't let him. And so he, while on steroids, competed against the girls. I bet you can't guess the outcome.
Four-time state champion.
Four-time state champion.
Yeah.
It's because of the steroids, taking of the steroids.
Yep.
So, who I watched the fights with last night, Chris, had a really great point. And I'm sorry if people don't want to hear this. I don't know if people do or not, but he had a really great point. If you're going to do that and you're going to let women go to men, which I don't have a problem with. If you want to try to compete against the men, you're more than welcome. Or men to women. Why have the NBA and the WNBA? Everything should be one league and you could try out and the problem would take care of itself because no women on the planet would get to play in the men's side. It wouldn't happen. So then the problem takes care of itself. It's not a problem. It's stupidity, right? And you can say I'm sexist because I'll let women move to the men's side, but I won't let women. It's a safety factor. Unless it's a sport like golf. Women, I don't care if you want to go against the men, which you did. Annika Sorenstam, I was ecstatic when she went and played against the men. I wanted to see how she would do because she is the best female player of all time. I wanted to see how she would do. I think she shot an 82. I think she shot par one day and 82 the next day. Michelle Wie didn't even have a shot. Michelle Wie doesn't even do well against the women anymore. Right. So, but she hits the ball 300 yards. Michelle Wie can hit the ball 300 yards. Here's the problem. The average driving distance on the PGA Tour is like 289. So you have Michelle coming when she hits the best drive ever, she can hit it 300 yards. So she's got 11 yards. The problem is those men can hit their 8-iron 50 yards farther than she can hit her 8-iron. So she's hitting a 4-iron. It's just not fair because the men play from 7 to 8,000 yards and the women play from 6 to 6,500. It's just not fair. Like a long course for a woman is 7,000 yards. I've played the women's tee box at my home course and I shot 4 under from the women's tee box. On the LPGA Tour, that would put me in the money in every tournament of the year if I shot 4 under a day. If I shoot par on the men's side, I make $1 million a year and nobody ever knows my name, which either way, I would take it. With that being said, I would like to announce that I am trying out for the LPGA Tour and please call me Jasmine from now on because I am going out for the LPGA Tour. Here's the great part. I get to wear shorts. Yeah, because you can't wear shorts on the men's side. And I'm not going to shave my beard. I'm not going to change my hair. I'm going to look exactly how I look. Just call me Jasmine. So I'm looking for sponsors. I would like to say this is probably our most controversial episode.
Just for men?
Just for men. I'm going to dye my hair. How's that? I will dye my hair. So they won't make me play on the women's senior tour. Is there a women's senior tour? I don't even know. Nobody wants to watch that. I guarantee Laura Davies is probably the only person on the tour that can outdrive me anymore. Here's the great part. Or no, I'm not going to say the next part. That's terrible. We're just going to stop right there.
Oh, you've already said enough, bro.
There you go. No, I was going to make it even worse. I'm going to let it go right there. We actually have a subject we actually want to talk about today.
So, I don't even know if we're going to get to it since we've talked about that for so long.
Well, here's the problem. As a coach, you got to have a problem with that. We've given plenty of examples. Here's the last example. The USA women's soccer team, the pinnacle of soccer, one of the best teams ever, could not beat the boys champion 16 and under select.
Is the FC
team.
Dallas developmental team.
It was the FC Dallas developmental team,
Yeah,
and the girls lost like 12-5.
I think one was 6-2. The other one was like, something like that, 12-5.
It's that tells you how silly what people are saying is that you as a man can transition to a woman and compete against women. It's dumb. It's dumb, and it's people trying to be as socially just. It's as dumb as the people that are saying that the Karate Kid is the bully in that movie.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I'm so sick of this crap. Like, now we're blaming the victim? Because, by the way, no matter what you feel about Cobra Kai, Johnny forced himself on Elizabeth Shue's character at the country club when the Karate Kid got dunked with a bunch of spaghetti sauce. Forced himself. And yet there's people that are saying, oh, Johnny was just misunderstood. No, he was a jerk. I love him to death. I love Cobra Kai. I love Johnny. Okay? I love how far he's come. I love how he's developed and everything. Ralph Macchio is not the bully.
No.
People are getting crazy. This is by far our most controversial.
This is going to be the one that ends Coach's spot.
Like it ended our other one. This is the one that gets a shadow banned.
Yes, I'm telling you.
Our other podcast got shadow banned on, and we proved it that it was shadow banned.
Yeah.
Like we had my assistant put in all the algorithms and everything, and it wouldn't come up.
Nope.
So Coach's spot's doing well, but hopefully still.
Until Jason opened his mouth today.
I was gonna say, why am I the only one talking? Someone else say something.
Well, I think obviously you guys, like you said, you have to deal with this. Wait, I don't have to deal with this.
Right.
Because,
You don't have girls.
Unless I have a player that says, I can't cut it and I'm going to go play elsewhere, but I've never had that issue.
Right.
But it's kind of, we talk about how do you communicate this to your athletes or when it comes to this position? Because I think obviously for us, we get to position that we're trying to get our athletes to the next level.
Yeah.
And it's a small, infinite amount of our athletes that are going to get to the next level.
Right.
And so in this situation, talking about, it makes
well, we have a I don't want to say easier. We have a better chance as gymnastics coaches that our athletes are going to get to the next level because they give about 90 scholarships a year in gymnastics.
Right.
These statistics might be old, by the way. These are a while ago. And I know some places have lost programs and things like that. But with 90 scholarships a year going, how many elites are in the country right now, Anthony? Do you know?
Probably no, I don't know the number.
Man, I guarantee there's less than 150. And that's 12 and up. Like anybody that's a Hopes program, all that thing. You can get a college scholarship for gymnastics if you're a solid level 9. If you're a good national qualifying level 10, chances are you got colleges looking at you. And if you're elite, you can pretty much pick wherever you want to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Where for Will, you have an athlete that is a good free safety and is crushing people, has the most tackles on the team. It might get overlooked in the state of Texas.
Well, the thing is, it's funny because we have there's tons of places to play.
Yeah.
But so it's kind of a situation where, let's say, for example, here in Texas, because Texas is by far the biggest talent pool of football players in any state. It's not even close. But there's thousands upon thousands of opportunities.
Right.
So the situation becomes, as far as finding the right place to play, of getting tape out, meeting the coaches, getting a connection, making sure that number one, that it fits academically.
Yeah.
That you can actually get an opportunity to play. So it's not so much that there's not an opportunity, but it's actually finding a connection somewhere. It's like, for example, just for my son, they had 34 seniors. Of those 34, 27 are actually going to go play at the next level.
Wow.
But I mean, they have a pretty amazing talent pool for that class. But for those 27, man, just listening to some of their stories about how they had to go and find and recruit and go and put out tape, and man, it was insane. Versus
it's the same way. Yeah, it's the same way with gymnasts.
Right. So as a coach, the communication that had to go in with them, I mean, like at his high school, one of the coaches is a recruiting coordinator.
Yeah.
I mean, they actually in high school now have a coach that's basically, I mean, he coaches
You
some other
have
stuff
to.
as well.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, we're talking about 5A, 6A. I don't think they have in two small
Right.
schools. They don't have a recruiting coordinator.
Right.
But they have a coach that is one of his primary duties is to work with the colleges in recruiting the kids to the right school,
Right.
or getting them to a school.
Well, and I think that's one of the reasons kids want to play for like Allen so much, because you got this running back that all these recruiters are coming to see, and you're a free safety.
Yeah.
And you're starting at Allen, and all of a sudden these recruiters are like, who's this free safety? Like,
I've seen kids at Allen that probably play don't start.
Yeah.
Second string can play 10 to 15 snaps that get a full ride.
Oh yeah.
It's the most ridiculous thing because
their talent pool.
Their talent base right there, they just never get the opportunity to actually see it on the field.
Right.
So what they'll show is obviously the snaps that they're getting, but they'll show practice film.
Yeah.
They'll show just their training film, their 40 times, their shuttle drills, their work in the weight room. And just because of their measurables in any practice film, when they're going up against the ones, let's say, for example, they're an offensive lineman and they're showing them going up against the number one defensive tackle, or maybe their top 20 recruit in the state, but he's actually doing a pretty good job against them in practice.
Yeah.
That guy's a pretty decent recruit. And he's obviously, he's not going to Alabama. He's not going to Texas, but he might go to East Texas A&M.
Yeah.
He might go to, Texas State, and it's a full ride.
Right.
But he might have seen garbage time when it was, Friday night.
Well, it's a good example with Anthony at the gym he coaches at. They're coming to see somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And then they see one of Anthony's girls, for example, and they're like, where did she come from? What are these bars doing? Because their talent pool is so deep that if they come to a meet to see when a senior or a junior and they watch them, and bam, they have 3 more girls that they're going to try to recruit. And gymnasts are in a weird, and Anthony, you can back me up on this or whatever, but gymnasts are in a weird boat because gymnast discipline level is so off the charts, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to say 90, but 85% of them are already going to get an academic scholarship.
Oh yeah.
No, I can't say the word. Academic scholarship.
They're not getting
Obviously, I did not. But
it's
right?
academic.
Academic-y. But they're going to get an academic scholarship. So now they just walk on because they just want to compete in gymnastics. Yeah. So how many girls do you think, Anthony, that a plethora of girls that are like, I don't need the athletic scholarship, and then they end up getting one anyway because they walk on, and these coaches are like,
well, recently I know maybe 2.
Get closer to your microphone.
That 2 of them, I think maybe 2 kids just recently. I mean, there has to be a lot. I mean, it happens all the time.
Air Force gets a huge pool of girls because they want the athletes, because they want to go to Air Force, and then they walk on. I mean, there's college gymnastics is even getting like college football, where there's a few schools that their starting 5 are unbelievable, and they can pick up from whoever they want.
What are the biggest gymnastic programs? I know like Georgia doing, or UCLA.
Georgia, UCLA, Oklahoma right now is probably the most
boomer.
Yeah. Oklahoma.
Actually, Oklahoma's not doing so hot this season.
They're not. They've had like how many national championships they had in the last 10 years? 2, 3?
Something like that. LSU.
LSU, yeah.
LSU's killing it right now.
Yeah, they're always pretty solid. But it's those
Florida.
big schools.
Okay.
Kinsey, who we were going to have on the podcast today, but there was a snowstorm. Kinsey went to University of Kentucky, and she at one time was probably, she's going to kill me for saying this because I coach with her now, but she was probably at one time the best vaulter in the country. Like,
nice.
She was doing Yurchenko double pikes before Simone Biles was even in level 4. So, I mean, she was ahead of her time, and she was pretty awesome. But there's a great Division I school that couldn't come within 5, 6, 7 points of the big schools.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty. There's the top tier, and then there's everybody here, and then everybody here. TWU here in Texas.
Yeah.
They've won. How many championships have they won, Anthony? More than I can count.
Yeah. A
They're
lot.
Division 2 in gymnastics, I believe, and Division 3 and all their other sports. But they've won so many as Division 2. It's unbelievable. I mean, I've coached with so many people that went there and were national champions there. So, but the difference, like you'll go to a meet that'll be Oklahoma, TWU, and University of Wisconsin Stout, or lacrosse. And University of Wisconsin Stout or lacrosse don't even have they're not even like, oh, they're here. Like the difference in gymnastics between them and TWU even is unbelievable. And then TWU, if they have their best meet ever and Oklahoma has their worst meet ever, they might be within 2 or 3 points.
Right.
But I mean, it's the difference between one and the other is just unbelievable.
See, and that's different for like baseball on the other hand. Like baseball, like Dallas Baptist.
Yeah.
Dallas Baptist, which is a tiny little, Division 2, or they may even be NAIA.
Yeah.
No, they're Division 2. Actually, their baseball program is Division 1.
Yeah.
But this little Billy,
little Billy.
Academic, there you go. This little bitty
academic Iggy.
Yeah. But like, for example, they're about to, go play in a tournament with OU, with Arizona, with Ole Miss. And of those 4 teams, Dallas Baptist is probably the best program.
Really?
Dallas Baptist is top 25 in the nation.
Well, and Southern Miss was like that at one time.
Yeah, Southern Miss in the 80s was dominant.
Yeah.
They're still a very good program.
I coached a bunch of their kids that were on that team that went to the World Series or the College World Series.
I mean, Arizona in the 80s, Barry Bonds was there. I'm sorry, he's at Arizona State. But I mean, Arizona has a great baseball program. OU has a great baseball program, but Dallas Baptist is just in line with all of them as well.
Right.
What doesn't OU have that's not good?
OU's the greatest college in the world.
You're talking to the wrong man. You're not going to find anybody to fight with you here.
I'm a huge OU fan.
I'm a pretty big OU fan.
No, I'm not an OU fan by any stretch of
their
measure.
Wrestling team is spectacular too.
Their sports is great.
Well, I mean, they realized a long time ago that for anybody to go to a school in Norman, Oklahoma, you better be good at athletics. So because that's where people are going to put money into it. Like, hey, by the way, we want you to build this library, but we're going to be really good at sports for you to come give money boosters.
If you take the best 5 gymnasts that ever went to Oklahoma, well, their men's team is spectacular too.
Yeah.
Jonathan Horton went to Oklahoma, didn't he? Yeah, Jonathan Horton went to Oklahoma. But if you took their 5 best female gymnasts, they could compete against any school ever. Like, I mean, you had so many great gymnasts that have gone there, but their wrestling program is pretty good. But you know who's got the greatest wrestling program of all time?
Iowa, right?
Iowa is probably the greatest of all time. I shouldn't say the greatest of all time. The greatest probably team of all time was Oklahoma State in the 80s, 90s. They had Kenny Monday.
Yeah.
They had so many. John Smith, who actually coaches Oklahoma now. I was talking to, I'm friends with a guy that was on that team, and he was ranked 2nd in the world 2 years in a row at like 178 or something. And he was saying that they would have a 4-hour practice and their coach would be just like, go first takedown and we're done. And they would go 4 hours without anybody getting a takedown because they were that good. Like it was there's times I'll watch Olympic wrestling. I'm like, this is so boring because they're so good. Nothing happens.
Yeah. Because
their defense just stymies each other. And so you're like, oh, someone will win 2-0 until you get to like Uzbekistan and Iran and those guys. They all have great wrestling programs.
Yeah.
Well, if Iran would stop killing, was it Iran or Iraq where they just killed one of their wrestlers?
I was gonna say, wasn't for
political. Yeah. He spoke out against the political regime, so they beheaded him.
Yeah.
There was a huge uprising in the UFC community.
Well, the state of Oklahoma, obviously, they have such a inferiority.
State of Oklahoma beheads wrestlers?
No.
Oh, okay.
But the state itself is so bad.
I knew it.
Inferiority complex that they
compared to Texas.
that they made sure that they're going to be really, really good at athletics.
Yeah.
So they could get lots of boosters. That a lot of people don't realize is they actually have more Rhodes Scholars come out of the University of Oklahoma than any other
It's a good school.
college university in the United States.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that, but it's a
Absolutely.
great school. Well,
Yeah.
people think about University of Texas, and I know you're not a fan,
Nope.
but University of Texas, they talk about, Texas and their football program sucks now, blah, blah, blah. But it's like a top 5% school, isn't it?
Oh,
It's top 3.
It's an elite school.
Yeah.
Don't give it what it.
I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. University of Illinois, who sucks, as I wear this sweatshirt, who sucks at athletics, because it's so hard to get in.
Yeah. They have pretty high academic standard, don't they?
Yeah, huge. The fact that my wife was blessed enough to go there and graduate from there is crazy because she couldn't get in now. And her brother has 2 doctorates and he might have not been able to get in now. So it's crazy how
I think you guys failed to mention that LSU is better than all of them.
LSU. I went to a meet at LSU. I took my girls one time to their blue and blue and gold.
LSU's a phenomenal
or
program.
purple
Did you-
and gold.
I think
What'd you say? Did you say blue and gold?
Yeah, I meant purple and
Purple.
gold.
Thank you.
Cool colors.
I think they're
You know the only reason why I'm a LSU fan. You already know the reason.
because it's purple and gold, and
Yeah.
you're a Vikings fan because you're
Yeah.
because you're a beta.
That would be a place to go on a Saturday night to go see a game.
What, LSU?
Yes.
It's a great campus, Baton
Oh, yeah.
Rouge.
Baton
Oh, I
Rouge,
love the
great
campus. Although when I was there, my tire blew out and I thought someone was shooting at me.
They may have been. Did you hear a banjo?
Did I hear a band? Actually, someone shot it with an arrow. Actually, that Deliverance. happened in Georgia,
Whoa,
I
buddy.
think. I think Deliverance happened in Georgia.
They're all the same.
It's Kentucky, Georgia, throw it all in there.
Mississippi.
As we talk about, as Texas talks about seceding, and all of them are like, "Can we come with you?"
Yeah.
Like Anthony gets so uncomfortable. He's like, "Don't talk politics."
Okay, but yeah, talking about coaching.
Yeah.
We talk about the one thing I asked about gymnasts, because obviously there's certain sports like gymnastics, tennis, soccer, even baseball is just a little bit now, because they're so much different than football and basketball.
Yeah.
Actually, even there in basketball. Is it something where you're trying to achieve to the next level? Where is the goal to actually make it to college, or trying to make it like into the Olympic program, or like
Olympic
what is the
program's
goal?
so
Well,
slim. Like,
Yeah, but
you
the-
can make a national. I think
it starts out with them. That's the goal, is the Olympics. I mean, when you
because their
think
parents are delusional.
gymnastics, that's what it is. But I mean, the kids, that's their dream. You know what I mean? And it's not until they start to get older and mature and start to understand, like, whoa, this is really hard and it's almost nearly impossible to get to that. Then it always turns into full ride scholarships and stuff like that. Then it goes into college. That's, I always tell parents and stuff like that. I go, if you guys are here for Olympics, I mean, that's a stretch. You should be shooting for college gymnastics, blah, blah, blah. Obviously not giving up the dream on gymnastics, but I mean, what is it now? Did they narrow it down to 4?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, and here's the thing: it's down to 3 because
Yes.
Simone's not making a team. So now it would be like Malcolm, like trying to make the Olympics in swimming when you
Like,
already
you have
know Michael Phelps is there.
You have a better chance
there's
of going to
one less
buying
spot.
Well,
buying
like
a
if they
lottery
have an
ticket
Olympic
and
program
winning the
team-
lottery than you do making the
No,
gymnastics
actually,
skills
your
team.
chances in gymnastics are actually better than a lot of other sports. Even though it's only 4, because there's only at one given time there's like 200 elites in the country at the peak. That was in the 90s. There was like 200.
Yeah.
elites.
But how
you're
many girls
but
are
back
trying
then
to
they were
chase
taking
up
6
into
kids. They were
that?
taking 6 kids, and then you take the alternate. Because remember when Morgan White was an alternate,
Mhm.
and then it turned out she had a broken ankle, and they're like, "What's going on?" And then they didn't take Remember when they didn't take Vanessa Atler? Do you remember that? Are you old enough to remember that? Whew.
Well, so I didn't know if it's something like where, like in soccer, where they actually have as far as the Olympic team, they obviously have
That
like
national team.
a
Yeah.
national team. So
Yeah.
obviously,
We have a
they-
national team. Yeah.
Okay, so like if
Mhm.
maybe they're in the national team, there's 20 or 40 people in that pool, even though they may not be on the quote unquote Olympic team.
Right.
They're on the national
yeah.
team.
Yeah, no. And there's teams that will send to world championships that isn't the Olympic team.
Okay.
So other countries do it even more than us, where they'll send their B team to like a whole meet that isn't, well, don't even get me started on China, but it for gymnastics, the goal, I always tell my girls, is to be in college.
Yeah.
Because it's a different, they're so disciplined and they're so used to coming so many, because if you're an elite in this country, and I'm not going to give my personal views on this because I'm probably differ from most people that coach in the industry. But if you're an elite in this country, I know from personal experience, my girls that are level 10 and elite didn't go less than 30 hours a week. 30 hours a week, which compare that to any other sport, except maybe golf or tennis or other sports that you're not taking that pounding as much, where you're doing vault and bars and you're just tumbling constantly, is an immense amount of hours. And then you go to college where you can't work more than 20 hours a week. It's against the NCAA rules.
Yeah.
So you can work out on your own. So a lot of times the teams, will have organized workouts without coaches, not doing gymnastics, but lifting or conditioning and doing stuff like that. Not even organized. They're not
OTAs.
organized. Yeah. But they're only allowed to be in the gym for 20 hours a week with a coach. So it's almost a relaxation time for them. Like a lot of girls, and I wish Kinsey was here because she could tell us, because she was at Kentucky and she was like, oh no, it was a break. Like it was easier than being elite.
Well, and you know what? Every time I've never really watched college gymnastics until recently. One of my girls was at Utah State, and it was kind of on. My daughter put the stream up, so I was watching it or whatever. But I'll tell you this: watching the girls' college gymnastics team, they look like it's way more fun. It's back to being when they were kids at compulsory.
It's about team.
Yeah.
No one cares who wins the all-around title.
They get to
Most
do
of them
big
are dual-
skills and all that other stuff, and they're cheering, and you know what I mean, opposed to going
Well, it's a
to
dual
like
meet.
let's say one of our meets where it's real serious and you can
Yeah.
mean the environment's totally
No
different.
one's cheering for anybody. It's teammates are praying that their other teammate falls. It's not like that in college, because all they care about is the team. They don't care about individual who wins. High school, where I coach now, their big high school programs are there. And a lot of my girls do high school also. And it's totally different. Like my girls will be like, oh yeah, they won't even mention it. I'll be like, hey, how'd you do this week at your high school meet? And they're like, oh yeah, I won. I'm like, oh, you're not happy about that? She's like, well, the team won, so I'm good. Like it's a total different feel. So, and that's a reward for them for all those years. All those years they were individuals and they were working so hard, and now they get to go to college and it's just about the team.
Yeah.
All about the team. And that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, I just
Wrestling's the same way.
I wish it could be the same way with in USA Gymnastics, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it never will be.
Kind of. No, I know that, but I mean, I'm just saying. I'm not gonna lie. When I watch those college gymnasts and then I'm watching them and all that, I'm like, man, it'd be great if it was like that. Like if I were at a normal meet and instead of seeing all these crazy nerves and what is my parents gonna say, blah blah blah, or even what my coach is gonna think. You know what I mean? And just watch these kids have fun. I mean, I would. Yeah, that'd be a good thing. Anyway.
Well, and there's another kind of pressure there because you're staying on the beam for your team. You're not staying on the beam for yourself. So there's a pressure there that is a weird dynamic for them. Because football, that's the great thing about football is they hold each other accountable.
Yeah,
I think football is so much different because that's about the only well, basketball even is different because of the way that people can go from high school to the pros.
Yeah.
And it's just branded as individuals so much more than team.
Right.
But football is probably the only sport that is so much branded as team.
For sure, even compared to baseball, because you care more about your stats than you care about the team.
I'll kind of share that here in just a second. But with football, you are ingrained from the very beginning that's team, and you have to go to college for a couple of years before you can make it. If you were that kind of elite level athlete, you still have to go to college for at least 2 years,
right,
before you can even be drafted.
Yeah, because you have to be what, 20 or 21?
I think it's 20. Yeah. But you at least have to have 2 years in college before you can be. You have to at least be a junior before you can be drafted into the NFL. And so, you still go to showcases and you still go to all these other things, but you still are ingrained as far as the team goes, as far as how important it is, because that's just, it's 11 guys on each side.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how great you are. If your team is not successful, you're one piece of, that's another thing, is that the fact that it's 11 guys on a team at one time. Whereas, baseball has 9, but it's such a slow sport.
Right.
And it's individualized. It's pitcher throwing against a batter, hitting it to one person.
That makes sense.
Right. In basketball, it's 5 people moving at one time. So it's only 5 versus 11. It's one guy versus one guy with one basketball.
Right.
With baseball is so much more different, though, in the fact that we're talking about, your team and going to college and being more like that. Baseball, because they play, if you're trying to make it to the next level, they're more concerned about their select teams than they are with their high school team. A lot of guys almost don't even play for their high school teams anymore. Or if they do, it's almost like it's recreational.
Yeah.
They don't even play as much for their high school team. They'll come and they'll play, but it'll be almost sparingly because they don't want to hurt their chances, or they don't want to get injured, because they want to make sure they can still play for their select team, because that's where most scouts.
Soccer's the same way, right?
Yeah. Oh, soccer is extremely the same. Volleyball is the same way.
Yeah.
Because they want to see them play at the highest level, which they consider select the highest level versus their high school teams, because they know that they're going to be playing with almost the same skill set.
Right.
So, and that was the biggest thing that we had when I was coaching at Plano, is fighting with kids and their parents, saying, "Hey, you may have a tournament with your select team, and at the same time as ours, if you're going to play with us, you're going to play with us."
Right.
And we had so many kids that didn't play because they're like, "Well, we're going to play with the select team because we know that if we play on this team, we know we're going to have we're going to be drafted, or we're going to have a college scholarship." Here's the reality: you're going to have a college scholarship no matter what.
Right. Doesn't matter.
But they knew that if they played on this team, that they're going to have more exposure. They're going to have scouts there. It was ingrained into them that was what's going to happen.
Right.
So if they did play for the team, they were actually more relieved, more relaxed. They didn't really care if they played as much. They were much more uptight and more intense when they were with their select team.
Oh, because
another thing is their parents invested a lot more money.
Yeah,
as well.
Select is unbelievably expensive.
So I have a question real quick. Why do you look so angry, Jason?
What? Do I look angry?
Yeah, I'm listening to Will, and I'm like, because you guys are on my screen, and I'm like, why is Jason so angry right now?
I'm not.
And then I see all this crazy snow wind, because it's going crazy outside my house right now. I don't know how crazy it is in McKinney, but right now I'm like, holy cow. Like my dog's sitting at the window like, what's going on out there?
I'm wearing shorts, bro.
So people are worried about our streets being able to get out and survive.
I'm going swimming outside of my pool, and it's not even heated. You guys are wimps. I'm from Chicago, bro. This is swimming. We would be.
We both know that you don't have a pool and you don't go swimming.
I don't go swimming because I don't want to take my shirt off in public.
No, that's not it. You're afraid of sharks.
Exactly. I am afraid of sharks also. And people are like, well, why would you be afraid of shark in a pool? Hey, you don't know. It could get in there somehow.
Yeah.
They found a bull shark in Peoria, Illinois in the Mississippi River. Trust me, sharks can get in there.
Have you ever seen Sharknado?
No, I haven't seen Sharknado.
It'll really scare you.
It won't scare me because I won't see it because it sounds so dumb.
Well, I don't go into it. This year was the first time ever in my whole life that I went up to about maybe chest high in the beach. I will no way.
Nope.
I'm like, there's things in there that can go swallow you.
Nope.
Done. Swallow you like a pill. And you want me to get in that water? No.
I won't get in a lake, much less the ocean.
Well, that's because you can't, especially a lake, you can't see anything.
Well, in Australia, there was a lake and they had a bull shark that had gotten into the lake somehow and ate somebody.
No.
Yes, in Australia. Of course, in Australia, he probably would have gotten bit by a spider or a snake when he got to shore anyway and died.
Beaten up by
I'd be more afraid of crocs.
There's more animals per square mile in Australia that can kill you than anywhere else.
You know what? Oh, I'm glad that you just said that to me because the next time my wife goes, let's move to Australia, baby. I'm like, did you know this fact? And I'm gonna lay it on her.
Although, do you know that more people are killed every year by cows than by sharks? There's about 5 people per year killed by sharks in the I think it's in the United States. There's 20 killed per year by cows. But at least I can pay the cow back because I'll eat a hamburger like you won't believe. I'll be like, oh, really? Who'd you kill?
I grew up on a ranch. I've personally watched people have legs shattered, shoulders dislocated.
Yeah.
I've seen
Okay,
chest
wait.
punctured. Yeah.
You're gonna have to explain to me how cows are killing. How it's happening. They what?
They're just big dogs,
stampede.
dude. They're just big dogs.
If you're out there herding cattle and they go in a stampede and you're in front of them, you're dead.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you know what's funny is
I was thinking it was like something like super cool, like they fart fire as you try to go in there.
Vampire cows is a thing. Vampire cows is a thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, if global warming's to do with cow farts, I mean, I would assume they can shoot fire out of their butt.
Well, I had a friend that owned a ranch out in Greenville, Texas, or outside Greenville.
No, you didn't say it right. It's Greenville.
Greenville.
But they were actually in Lono, which is outside Green. Yeah, it's country. It's country. For those of you that are listening in the city, it's country. But I had a friend and he went out to feed his cows and he was an hour late to feed them.
Get angry.
And they almost destroyed his truck because they were so excited to get to the food that they just kept pushing into his truck and they caved in the quarter panels and caved in the side of the truck trying to get to the food.
Wow.
They're just big, dumb animals, but that's the problem.
Hey,
big, dumb
don't
animals.
call them dumb.
Dude, I like my food to be stupid as possible, so I'm going to go ahead and call them dumb.
If they can walk around and eat that grass off that ground, they ain't dumb.
Wait. I'm not saying humans are any smarter. As we've proven in 2020, we are not any smarter than cows. We are not any smarter. If you start, here's the thing.
Oh gosh.
Cows will jump in a line to the slaughterhouse without any questions asked. What I have found this year is so will humans. No question asked. Go out right now, Anthony. Go out right now into someplace populated and just stand. All 3 of us will just stand in a line. I guarantee people will start lining up behind us.
No, that's true. I saw this show on Netflix. Yeah,
Las Vegas, and they just
on Brain Games
started a line, and people just started getting in the line. What do we?
Yeah, and they're interviewing. They're like, "Why are you in this line?" And they're like, "I don't know. I just saw people lining up, so I just decided to get in." And they have their like alcohol there.
How dumb people are. So we won't even start talking about Gina Carano.
Oh gosh. Anyway, next subject. Yeah. So girls gymnastics.
We're over our time anyway.
All right.
We're over our time anyway. But and Gina Carano kind of.
He went back to it.
We can kind of talk about it because she was an athlete.
She was an MMA fighter.
She had been coached in her life. I wouldn't mind coaching Gina Carano.
Yeah, I think she's an awesome, lovely, beautiful,
Actress?
brave person. Yes, of course.
Her arms are massive.
I know.
Along with other parts. I wasn't talking about that.
Don't forget, kids do listen to.
I know. Yeah. That's why I stopped. I'm talking about what you think I'm talking about.
Because I wanted to throw a couple good jokes already, and I'm like, ah.
I was talking about that dump truck of a butt. It's not like anybody can't look at her Instagram and see it. Yeah. It's not like I'm saying something that people didn't know already.
It's called Google.
It's called Google.
Oh gosh.
Seriously, Gina Carano and Misha Tate. Ooh, I had crushes.
Misha.
You didn't like Misha?
So did Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Did you see that video?
Everybody saw that video.
Yeah.
I know what you were
Did you
doing,
see-
Rogan.
where she's weighing in and Joe Rogan looks right at her butt. So
Yeah.
now if you watch when Joe Rogan does the weigh-ins, he's like that when girls weigh in, he does
Okay.
this now and looks straight up at the ceiling.
Yeah.
He looks straight up at
Well,
the
Andy, it was a sheriff there. One of the deputies that that they have there.
yeah.
He did it too, where they caught him on video where he's staring down. I mean, obviously at her butt talks.
Hey, dude.
And then so Misha Tate took a camera crew, whatever, and she showed up at his job and was like, "Hey, blah blah blah," and he was all embarrassed. And she did it as a joke, obviously. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah,
Because she
she's
did
got
it all
really
good
sense of
fun.
humor.
Yeah. So and the guy's like, "Oh," like you can see him all embarrassed. But yeah, it's,
Checking to make sure she was all the way on the scale.
Gina Carano and Misha Tate both, they've trained with guys their whole life.
Yeah, they had to.
It's
Mhm.
like Valentina Shevchenko. The girl is, besides the fact that she's probably the best fighter in the world, she male or female, but could she beat a male? Probably not. Not another male fighter, but she's still one of the best in the world. She has trained with dudes her whole life. She knows how dudes think. Like, she knows how guys are. She's not surprised when it happens because she's in a sport dominated by men.
yeah. Well, what one of my favorite is. I always forget her name.
Amanda Nunes.
No. I'm not a big fan of Nunes.
Amanda Nunes.
Cut it out, Jason. No, she's Polish. She was killing me.
Shanchenko.
Who?
Valentina is Polish.
I don't
She
think
might
it's
not
the
be
one-
Polish. She's Eastern European. Duh. Valentina. Now I can't say it.
Again,
Say
all the
it.
same. Shevchenko.
Shevchenko.
Shevchenko. Yurchenko? I don't know. No, I don't think that's the name.
We're
always
really
forget-
surprised to find out that Anthony finds Eastern European women attractive. Where's your wife from again?
Wait, what?
Where's your wife from again? Lithuania?
Lithuania?
Yeah. We're real surprised to find out that you think some girl from Poland is hot.
I didn't say she was hot.
Why? 'Cause your wife's gonna listen.
She seems like a nice lady. to me.
Again, why?
And she
backtrack?
would destroy people in the octagon until recently. Now she's unfortunately.
Oh, you're talking about what's her name? Will she's the
I'm
one
trying to look
before
Let's look it up.
Shevchenko. Oh my
Polish
god!
MMA fighter?
No, I don't think she's Polish.
she lost to another Polish
She lost to
one.
Rose
The girl,
McGowan Rose
the one that was
Rose
that
McGowan
shaped her
crushed
head.
her.
Are you talking about
Yes, that's who he's talking about.
Johanna?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Love that girl.
I said Rose
She's
McGowan.
awesome.
Rose McGowan took
And
a
I
break.
always mispronounce her last name. Yochechik or something like that?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
Church.
Yeah.
Okay.
Her. I liked watching her. She was dope, man.
Too skinny for me.
Well, I'm not talking. I'm talking about her.
I know what
fighting.
you're saying because again,
I do think she is a little attractive too. I mean,
to
don't get me wrong.
reiterate, Anthony's wife is from Eastern Europe, so
That has nothing to
not
do
look
with
at
it,
other
buddy.
women ever.
She's a pleasant human being.
Yes.
If they were out to dinner, I swear this would happen. Tell me I'm lying, Anthony. Hold on, let me finish before you say I'm lying. If you were at dinner and your wife said, "Do you think that waitress is pretty?" You would say, "What waitress, baby? I only have eyes for you."
Okay, I wouldn't say that, but definitely if she said, "Hey, baby,
What
that's a
waitress?
pretty girl over there," I'd be like, "Pretty."
Which
I
one?
mean, she's
girl?
okay. You're way better looking anyway.
Yes, I know you would. You're a good
Of
dude.
course.
You're a good dude.
Well, I do. I do. My wife.
Here's the
is-
thing, though. You
to
really
me-
think that, though, Anthony.
Yes.
You're not lying
Yeah.
to your wife. You're not lying.
No.
You think?
I mean, I do think there are other girls that are pretty, but when it comes to my wife, no way.
By the way, Anthony's wife is beautiful.
She is. I'm just saying.
She is. She's gorgeous. No, she is. She's very pretty. I've only met her once at the Woga Classic, but she's very pretty. Anthony way outkicked his coverage. Way.
Oh. I told her a long time ago. I'm like, man, I went from dating, being around like I use cars. I'm like a Ford Tempo. You're my Ferrari, baby. I'm not letting that go. You don't downgrade now. There is no other sidecar.
I posted a picture the other day. I'm like, when a 10 marries a 4, and everybody thinking I'm the 4. And then I posted a picture of me and my wife, and I put the 10 on me and the 4 on her. She was very upset because it's wrong. It's wrong, by the way. I'm by far not a 4.
I'm a solid 6, thank you.
I'm a solid 6.
Yep.
I get better every day though. Like I started when I lived with Will 20 what was it 25 years ago? It was close.
23
years ago.
I was
23 years ago.
Yeah.
I was maybe a 5, and now I'm at least a 7.5. Because I got that George Clooney disease. Where I get better looking every day.
Yeah. No, I went from a 10 to a 0. And I mean, 0.
Oh, you are not a 0. Your tattoos alone give you 2 points, bro.
Yeah.
Your tattoos alone. And your beard.
But
your beard.
Let me tell you something.
That's in style right now.
Dude, like, first of all, this is not a beard. This is not a beard. This is a wannabe beard. It drives me crazy because I look at guys like you, and you guys have like good finished goatees, full voluptuous beards, and I'm sitting here patching, super thin. This is not a beard. This is an embarrassment to all mankind. Let me tell you something. The only reason why I have it is because I'm lazy and I don't want to shave it.
Heck yeah.
You do remind me of Jamie from Progressive. It's like, sorry I'm late, y'all. And sorry for my appearance. My luscious beard. The secret is maple oil. You give it a
like this thing is dry and itchy right now.
I'll tell you what, mine.
I hate that. That is the worst.
Mine is long enough that for the first time in my life, I've ordered beard oil.
Oh yeah.
From the glorious House of Gains podcast, by the way, Robert Frank. I ordered beard oil from them because I heard it smelled so good.
Listen, how dare you? Because they got some beard actions over at the Hodge Twins, buddy.
Do they have beard oil?
They got some dang good beard oil for you.
I'm sorry. I don't listen to the Hodge Twins that much. I've since we got rid of our podcast, our political podcast, I don't pay attention. Like I barely knew that
you checked out.
Yeah, I'm done. Like I didn't know. I someone else told me that Trump
there was an impeachment?
That he got acquitted. The only reason I knew he got acquitted is because someone posted a meme of AOC and it said, "Oh, he finally acquit." So that's the only reason. I'm not following politics at all since we stopped doing the podcast.
But
because all the twins make me mad.
You're not missing
anything. Yeah, well, the Hodge Twins don't, but they're not just political. They have a bunch of other things. I mean, they're stand-up comedians too.
Dude, I know you love the Hodge Twins.
I do. They're awesome.
I do. Yeah, I think they're awesome too. They're not to mention the fact, could they be 2 better looking dudes? They're pretty good looking.
You know, I wasn't gonna say anything because I don't want people to think I'm fancy. They are some 2 good looking men.
You were gonna say something else. I'm like, well, we'll delete this episode.
Scrap.
I thought it was a pretty good episode right up to then.
And it wasn't Jason that said it. Yeah, it was Anthony.
That would be a first. My sister did get mad at me because our old podcast, I said a bad word one time and she got all mad.
Oh,
it wasn't the one you're thinking of. It was the word I thought you were just going to say.
Anyway, it's probably a good time to end it there, buddy, before
we say something?
Before something happens, because I feel it in my bones.
It's getting there.
I like this one. I don't want to have to scrap this one.
I would say I'm pretty reserved on this podcast, aren't I? I'm pretty good. Yeah. I got into the transgender thing a little bit, but
until today.
Today.
Today was the first time you've. Yeah, but I don't think it was bad. I mean, it's not like said anything that was, I'm not. It's not like
true or whatever. Gina Carano said.
Yeah, well, and 2, I think people have to understand too is, but even bringing up the subject, because most people, of course, they're gonna go with the, you guys are phobic and all this other stuff, but they don't understand that we don't care if a man or woman transitions to anything. We really don't care. That's good for you. I'm happy that you're happy.
Since we're over time, and this is the bonus content now. So if you want to turn it off, turn it off. Seriously, as a coach, and guys out there that like, subscribe, all that stuff. And please, I would like to know your opinion on this. And if
Comment.
you're more than welcome to try to change my mind, and I will more than welcome listen to you. I will listen to your opinion. As a coach, Will included, even though Will coaches boys, as a coach, you show up to an event and your girl has to compete against somebody that used to be male. Do you do anything? Do you say, you know what, my girls are not competing? Say it's soccer, okay? A good friend of mine coaches select soccer. You show up, you have a good girls soccer team, okay? Female soccer team. You show up, the other team has 2 transitioning males. Is it transitioning males? On their team. They're 6'2". They're 10 times faster than everybody else on the field. Do you do anything? Do you have any recourse? If you're in North Dakota or Mississippi, you have recourse because it's against the law. So what as a coach, where's your responsibility lie? For me and you, Anthony, it's not as much of a thing because it's not like you're going to get hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're gymnasts. They compete at different times. Who cares? Okay, let them. And I will gladly take the challenge as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
But having someone that much stronger and that much faster than one of your girls on the field, say it's softball even. Softball, soccer, what else? Lacrosse. What if it's lacrosse?
Women play hockey.
Hockey. I had a girl leave gymnastics to become a hockey player, and she ended up getting a scholarship.
We're
for
talking
it.
about the women's MMA fighter.
Women's MMA fighter. I'm not even going to get into that.
But
okay. I'm talking about
contact.
regular. Yeah. I'm talking about regular everyday sports.
Yeah.
Soccer. Have you seen?
Oh, it's extremely physical.
Yeah. Girls play select soccer female teams. Those girls can they can play.
Yeah.
And they do get violent. So what do? Where's your responsibility as a coach lie? Anthony, I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Where does mine?
Yeah.
No, my. You're asking where my responsibilities?
As a coach,
I
coach lacrosse. Say you coach lacrosse, which is a naturally violent sport.
Yeah, on that. I don't think I play my team.
You don't think that's what I was looking for?
I take
was
the
looking
loss.
For what your answer is.
I think I take the loss. So it's just like, yeah, I don't. I go with you know me. I'm gonna go with what's safest for my girls, whether it's right or wrong. I would not be able to do it or even stand there to watch it. I'm not sorry for that. I was gonna say I'm sorry, but no, I'm not.
But that's what I wanted. I wanted the truth. What about you, Will?
Yeah.
I can't. I wouldn't, and I'd protest it. And here's why: because as a coach, we talk about morals and ethics. We try to instill that into our players, as far as what's right and what's wrong. So when you talk about in the basics, like we discuss PEDs, blood doping. You know, we want an equal playing field. So whether it's using performance-enhancing drugs, whether it's cheating, whether it's Deflategate, whatever it was, you know, it's taping other people's practices. All those things are supposed to give you an unequal playing field.
Right.
So how is this not an unequal playing field? So if me as a coach, if I feel that this is an unequal playing field that can definitely cause harm to my athletes, and I'm now saying, hey, I've taught you as my athletes, my kids, I've invested into them, that now everything I've taught you, hey, believe this, but now we're going to throw that all out the window for this one game.
Right.
I can't do that. That makes me a hypocrite.
Right.
Let alone the fact that may cause a possible physical harm to you. But it's now, hey, do as I say, not as I do. I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah.
Again, this is on me. I'm your coach. I'm your protector. I'm the one who's responsible for you at this point in time while you're on the field. Then no, you're off the field. I'll take the L. I'll take the protest. Whatever punishment's coming, I'll take the punishment because that's my job.
Right. As a matter of fact, yes.
If I've instilled this into you, that right is right, wrong is wrong, that, you know, you're supposed to win because you're better trained, you practiced harder, you studied harder, maybe you've got better skills, but as far as the playing ground is, it's supposed to be equal.
Right.
This is not equal, and I'm not okay with that.
Although I do think it should be okay for all athletes to take steroids.
I agree.
Can you imagine
totally-
how awesome it would be?
I'll tell you right
I
now.
absolutely. But if we're playing in the day and time that's not supposed to be okay,
Right.
then why is this?
Right. Because there's no such thing as physical equality.
No, there's
So
not.
you're gonna have people that are unbelievably physically talented
Right.
compared to other people. That's in the natural spectrum.
I'm
Okay.
not 7 foot tall. I can't go say, hey, Mark Cuban, sign me to play the 5.
Well, and I wouldn't play for Mark Cuban because he wouldn't play the American anthem. But
I just picked a local team. Sorry.
I'm just saying, I want to see Tom Brady set back in that end zone and throw to the next end zone and be like, "Whoa!
yeah,
You see how far he just threw that ball and with accuracy?
Yeah.
Keep pumping it, buddy."
well, and I think how many? Thank you, Anthony. How many? Anthony's playing our closing music. He's like, we're done.
It's time.
How many guys in the NFL do use steroids?
90%.
You think it's 90%?
Of some form of, whether it's steroids, whether it's HGH, whether it's
Right.
something like when Peyton Manning went to go get the neck surgery over in Europe.
Yeah.
There was something there that was probably not legal in the United States. Brain stem cells, whatever it was.
Right.
And I'm fine with that because Peyton Manning's a phenomenal football player. Because his study,
I agree.
preparation, his ability to read a defense.
Well, it's just like
you
fighters.
can't teach that.
How many fighters in the UFC are taking some kind of performance enhancing
Right.
drugs?
And most of
Well,
that
even
stuff,
Joe Rogan said that he went and took
Joe
Like,
Rogan takes performance.
I forgot.
drugs.
Was he? I don't. Or someone on his show was talking about how they went and dang it, I can't remember what it is, but it's
Are you talking about the stem cells when he went to Argentina?
yes.
Yeah,
the
Joe
stem
Rogan
cells
does
and
stem cells.
okay, so he did do it.
It was Mel Gibson.
I just remember
It
someone.
was a
Yeah,
fighter,
they
it
were
was Mel
talking about it.
Gibson. But Joe Rogan says when he goes down to Argentina, he doesn't, which I can't imagine this. He does the whole body stem cell treatment.
Mhm.
He's done it on both shoulders, and he says it's unbelievable that he hasn't had to have shoulder surgery since. But when they go, whatever body part you're having a problem with, the first few days they just work on that body part. By the way, stem cells are excruciating. I've had it done. I did it for my Achilles. I didn't have surgery on my Achilles. I did stem cells. It's excruciating. And he says the first 2 or 3 days, that's all they do is the body part. And then they do an all over stem cell, which I can't imagine because just my Achilles, they had to do 5 injections in one sitting. So I couldn't imagine what the all over body is. It's probably like when Wolverine gets his anianium.
That's the first thing I thought of. I was like, Wolverine, buddy.
Such comic book dorks. We're such comic book dorks. But that's what I envision too. But he says it's like sunlight shooting out of your fingertips.
Wow.
He goes, you feel 10 years to 15 years younger like your
See, I need that.
body. But it's like $150,000 too.
Oh, wow.
But
Okay,
they
never
use
mind.
the good stuff. Like on my Achilles, I didn't use the good stuff. They use the good stuff. Like they do the stuff you can't do in the United States. They use, and I'm sorry for people that are going to get offended at this. And I know I'm not supposed to apologize, but they use from the umbilical cords. You're not allowed to do that in the United States. They use the stem cells from the umbilical cords and stuff like that. So, and I think we saved my son's. I think you can save it because you can use your own in the United States, but you can't. It's something to do with that. I have no idea. But anyway, they use the good stuff in Argentina, and it's like $150,000 per treatment or something stupid.
Dang.
But I hear it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Plus, you're in Argentina. You could probably be like, hey, hit me up with the stem cells, hit me up with some HGH, hit me up with some testosterone, throw some anadrol on top of that. By the way, I don't condone any of that. I totally, if steroids were legal, bro, I'd be all over it. I'd be stacking stacks on top of stacks. Like I'd be bench pressing 390 instead of 375.
That's
I'm
it?
joking. No, my max ever is 305. So, and my max squat is like 405, and then my max deadlift is 315 or something.
I'm embarrassed for you.
I know, dude. For those of you that we joke around about Anthony being big and fat, which he's not. By the way. Anthony was jacked, by the way.
Yeah.
Go back on his Facebook and look. Dude was jacked, and I don't know if you want. He had some health problems, so give him some slack.
Yeah.
I joke with him.
I had a mild stroke.
Yeah, he had a mild stroke, so leave him alone. But I can joke with him because he's one of my best friends. So
yeah,
dude.
Hey, I'm trying to get back there. Let me tell you something. For those of you guys that are working out, it's hard to get back into it. I'm telling you.
When you lose it, trust me,
it's hard.
Will and I used
but it's for me, it's mental. It's not so much physical, because when I'm in the gym, I'm fine. Like I can go beast mode. But mentally, for me, it's if I take that 1 day break, I'm done.
Well, dude, you know what does it for me is I will go and have a workout where I feel like an athlete again. Yep. And before I tore my Achilles, even my trainer was like, bro, your athleticism is off the charts compared to what it was when you first started working out with me. And then I tore my Achilles, and now I'll go have a good workout, and then I'll look in the mirror and I'll be like, I don't even want to go tomorrow, because you know how long the road is. Will and I couldn't afford a gym membership when we lived together. Nope. We used to hang out in the apartment complex. Gym. Yeah. It was about the size of our studio. Yeah. They had like 4 weights.
Yep. A universal, a treadmill.
Yeah.
And
but we got it done. You know, we got in there and we got it done. And I remember we had a friend. We used to have pool parties. Our apartment complex had an epic pool. That pool was bad, wasn't it?
It did.
And we would have these pool parties on the weekend.
I think that's the only reason we moved there.
I think so. And our apartment overlooked the pool.
Yep.
So the view was unbelievable.
It's all right.
But I remember we lived together and we were working out pretty consistently. Mm-hmm. And I asked out a friend of ours, and she said no because I wasn't big enough, because I wasn't muscular enough. And I look back at my body then, I'm like, what was she? But now I'm bigger than I'm bigger now than I was then. But,
her loss.
Yeah, her loss, man. But she wasn't going to be a doctor anyway, so I wouldn't have married her. But anyway, okay, now we'll end it, because I wanted to ask that question. I think that's an important question, because now as a coach, you know, we have lots of different coaches listening to the podcast. We have coaches from other countries listening to the podcast. As a coach, that's a new wrinkle thrown in, because we're not talking about track, you know, where it's unfair, but your player's not going to get hurt. Your athlete's not going to get hurt because they're running a 100-yard dash. Mm-hmm. But lacrosse, soccer, what's another? Softball, even softball, man.
You get
they're coming in. They're locomotive coming into home plate, and you're barely going to make the throw, and they run into that catcher. Basketball. Oh my gosh. You get a ref that's not calling fouls. Your athlete's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Why is he laughing? He's laughing again. I love making Anthony uncomfortable. That's like one of my favorite things to do.
Oh man!
Look, I'll compare it to this. I'll be done. One of the second or third year was coaching after I quit playing.
Yeah,
and we had a massive summer select tournament that we went and played in Louisiana. It was over in Shreveport. And this team was from Louisiana. It was totally, I say select. It was ran by a scout for the Marlins.
Oh wow!
And they had, I mean, it was supposed to be actually legitimately high school teams. These guys were from Tennessee, Louisiana.
Did you go with your high school team?
Yes, it was Plano Senior.
Oh, you were coaching.
You were coaching, but we were taking them to some big time tournaments.
Right.
But these guys were not, I mean, the guys didn't know each other. They were staying over at Louisiana Tech somewhere at the dorm. Yeah. But it was being ran by, the scout was from the Marlins, because they were basically trying to pull talent together.
Right.
So we're playing in the championship tournament. They got a kid that's throwing upper 90s, and he has just got massive velocity on his fastball, but he has no control whatsoever.
Yeah.
get up there, and he is.
Did he hit the mascot?
He could have if he wanted. Well,
Bull Durham?
if he wanted to, he could have, but he couldn't. But so basically, within the first 3 innings, he's hit 4 guys.
Oh no.
Okay. So
Yeah.
he's physically dominant, but he's hurting kids.
Right.
By the 3rd inning, I go up to the home plate umpire and say, "Look, if you," and by this time I'm yelling. I'm 23.
Right.
I'm a young kid, but I told the umpire, like, "Look, if you don't do something, I'm going to."
Right.
Next guy hits him in the head.
Ugh.
I said, "That's it. We're done. Grab my kids. We're out of here." It's like, "But it's a championship game." It's like, "I don't care."
Yeah.
I was like,
No,
you
absolutely
hit 5
not.
kids. You hit 5 kids. You haven't pulled him. You haven't ejected him." He's like, "Well, it's not on purpose." I know it's not on purpose.
Doesn't
But
matter.
and most umpires
Safety.
would have ejected him by that point.
Right. Right.
But I was like, and it's the fact of the matter is you're not protecting my players.
Right.
And I'm not willing, and it's a pretty prestigious tournament. I'm like, I'm not willing to put my kids in that kind of line of risk, no matter what it is.
No.
Because it just, I've told my kids that I will protect them no matter what.
Right.
And this kid, he's like, 4th inning, he struck out 15 kids, but he's also beaned 5 of them.
It sounds like Bull Durham.
And I've got 4 kids over here with ice packs and laying over here that are out of the game.
What is that in Bull Durham when he goes, he struck a new team record, struck out 15 players.
Yeah.
And he's like,
walked 20.
And he walked 20. Also a new team record.
Yeah.
And he 5.
Right.
Also a new team record.
So the reality is for any coach is you got to protect your kids.
You know what? And I know we're finishing up, I swear. That's your job as a coach, is not only to protect them, but to be a jerk. And Anthony and I have talked about it on the show this year. I got into a little bit of trouble for scratching a girl off an event for safety issues. But when I first started coaching, Anthony's going to think this is hilarious because nobody does this in the sport of gymnastics. But you have to remember, I was coming from a wrestling, boxing, football background when I came into coaching gymnastics. And I'd coached for a while. And I was a new head coach. I'm probably not much older than you were at that tournament. And we were at a lower league. It's called TAF. We were at a meet. And when I went to this gym, these girls were horrendous. I mean, they were bad. And I got to this gym and I'd worked really, really, really hard. We actually were living together when this happened, Will. I worked really, really hard to get them better. And we actually might have just stopped living together, but it was when I first went to Greenville. But they were working so hard and they were busting their butt. And I mean, they were crying during conditioning, and I was pushing them really, really hard. And it was like our first meet together, as me as their head coach, them competing at this level. And we go out, and the team ahead of us, we're on floor. The team ahead of us looks terrible and are going like high 8s, low 9s. And I'm like, we're going to crush these fools. Oh, and I had a new floor coach at the time. So the floor coach had been working really, really hard with them and all this stuff. So I'm like, oh, we're going to crush it. We're going to get like 9-7s, 9-8s, 9-9s. We're going to be so awesome. They go out, compete, 8-2, 8-1. 7-9, like just low balling the crap out of us. And I'm like, I filled out an inquiry on every single kid at a TAF meet, Anthony. I filled out an inquiry on every single kid. My floor coach is in tears because she doesn't know what's going on. I go, there better be a major skill missing that we didn't put in, that we messed up because it was a compulsory level. There better be, if this is nickel and dime crap, we're leaving. And I said it out loud in front of my athletes. First mistake. So the inquiries come back. It's nickel and dime stuff. So Anthony.
Oh, gosh.
Guess what I did?
What?
I sent the inquiries back. I said, look at them again. And so, which is never done, Will. Never done. Okay. I sent them back. The judge sends all 5 of them back to me with big red marker that says not changing the scores. I go, guys, get your stuff.
Yeah.
and we picked up our stuff and we walked out. The meet director is walking with me the whole way. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. I said, we're leaving. Parents stood up. All of us left. We left a meet.
Wow.
I've never, Anthony, have you ever seen someone do that?
No.
Dude, one of the
Ask me how many times I've put in an inquiry.
How many times have you put in an inquiry? 0?
2.
Really?
2.
I've put in quite a few in my, well, we were at someone
Don't do it.
someone I used to work with and I were at a meet, and it's when they first changed the level 7 rules where you could now do a switch leap. And they took the full, what was it? 2-point deduction if you did a C in a level 7 routine. Is it 2 points? They took that full deduction, even though it was allowed. And so I went to the judges table and I'm like, you're taking for the switch leap, aren't you? And they're like, yeah. I go, September 19th, they did it. They added to the code that you're allowed to do a switch leap at level 7. And they're like, no, they didn't. I go, they absolutely did. So I look it up on my phone. Well, the coach I worked with came over and she was like, you're absolutely allowed to do it, blah, 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 blah. And she was a little abrasive. And the judges were like, nope. And so I find the rule finally and I show it to them. And they're like, great, you got to fill out the inquiry form and every skill in the routine has to be on the inquiry form. They made us fill out full inquiry forms to get our 2 points back. And it was on all 5 gymnasts. So they made us fill out the whole thing they just wouldn't give us it back. And it was like an invitational. I'm like, what are you doing? But it was because they were mad because we were right.
Prove them wrong.
But when I was in Mississippi, I filled out an inquiry on a vault one time. And the coaches were all like, why are you filling out an inquiry? Nobody ever gets more points. They raised it 2/10. They were like, oh my gosh, I'm better than 50% on inquiries. Like I'm around 75%.
I don't normally, unless it's like, blatant. I know it's outrageous. Right. Then I'm going to do it. That's why I only few. And the other times when they're like, why don't you do, I've had people like, go do it. And I'm like, nah, I'm just going to be better next time. And I tell the kids, don't give them an excuse. That's how I like where I tell my kids, like, we're not going to give them an excuse. That's it. We're just going to be better. You
know exactly who I'm talking about, by the way. One of our friends who I think he's coaching tumbling now. We were at a meet together and one of my girls goes and she does a pretty good vault and he's standing right next to me. And I give her a correction and she does it and sticks the landing. And he's at a different gym. Well, he starts screaming 10. And then they post like a 9-8. He's like, what? And he starts arguing. I'm like, bro, you don't even you're not even at my gym. I'm like, I'll take a 9-8. Cause like the highest score was like a 9-2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll take a 9-8. Don't make him mad.
He wanted that 10, yeah.
But anyway, okay, brother, we went a whole show over.
Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe.
Go 2.5 more minutes and make it a full 2 shows.
Share, guys.
And hey, comment. I really do want to know as a coach, especially if you're not an individual coach, you're in a team sport and you coach females, what would you do? I honestly want to know. And if you don't agree with what I said, I honestly want to know that too. So
yeah. And but it's what next time we'll try to be all in the studio. And the reason why we couldn't is because here in Texas it's like a blizzard outside.
Yeah, it
can't go anywhere.
It won't be next week because we both have a meet. We're both going to the same meet. And then
well, I mean,
it'll be hard coming up because we got states.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, we're gonna try our best to get us all in the studio and have a nice good one.
I think, and I'd like to have Denise and Kinsey in here because I really want to talk about. Well, we were supposed to talk about communication today, so next episode we'll talk about communication, and then Denise and Kinsey, I want them in here because it's a weird dynamic because Denise owns the gym and Kinsey was an elite athlete, and it's her mom. So I'd kind of like that on how to, because Will and I have talked about coaching your kid before. Mm-hmm. And then here's the thing, Denise didn't coach Kinsey until she was in high school. So that's a weird dynamic too, that Denise, who is a heck of a coach, by the way, is an awesome coach. She makes me look negative. And for those of you that think I'm negative, when I coach, I am not negative at all. You can ask Anthony. But
Yeah.
but she left it to other people to coach her unbelievably talented. And again, Kinsey would be so mad that I'm saying all this, giving her compliments, but unbelievably talented daughter. And she left it to other people to do. So I kind of like that perspective, because Will, has coached both his sons, haven't you? Or
I have.
And he gave up coaching them later on because they went to high school and were coached by other people. And this is the reverse. Like Kinsey, since 2 years old, we knew she was going to be an elite. So, and Denise gave it up to other people to coach her. So I kind of want to hear that dynamic. And then she actually got to coach her junior or senior year, and ended up winning Coach of the Year.
That's funny.
So yeah, we're going to have them on probably not next weekend, but the weekend after, if we can all get together. So thanks everybody for listening. Sorry we went over so long, and you had to wait this long to listen to us.
Not like they're going anywhere.
Yeah, it's not like we're going anywhere. We might as well do a 4-hour show, but
I don't do a full day.
Anthony's by himself. Even for Anthony, let's all go change our shirts and do a show on communication. Then we'll have 2 shows a week. So anyway, okay, I'm hanging up. Bye guys.